Hello and welcome to Art from Heart Beyond the Canvas. I'm your host, Avni Shiram. I'm the founder of Art from Heart. This is Mohana Shavali. She is the podcast lead at Art from Heart. Today, we're diving into the world of accounting and its connection to the arts. We're thrilled to have Miss Annette Bevers as our guest.
Thank you for joining us today, Miss Annette. We're excited to have you as our guest and share your journey with our audience.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Just like a quick intro about her today. Annette Bevers is a certified public accountant and QuickBooks expert with over 25 years of experience helping small and mid-sized businesses. Her journey into accounting started in middle school when her aunt introduced her to bookkeeping. Annette loved the puzzle-like challenge of making numbers fit together to tell a story, passion that has guided her career ever since. A UCLA graduate with a degree in business economics and a minor in accounting, Annette began her career working with regional accounting firm, helping businesses achieve their financial goals. Today, she runs her own accounting business, empowering entrepreneurs to navigate their finances and focus on what matters most to them. She loves showing others that accounting isn't just about numbers. It's about solving problems, creating opportunities, and achieving dreams.
Awesome. So, yeah, we're really grateful to have you here. So, just to start, we wanted to ask you what initially inspired you to pursue your field?
So as mentioned in my bio, that I got introduced to accounting pretty early on. That my aunt was a bookkeeper, and so when I was in middle school, she offered to have me help her with her business, doing some basic tasks. And when I did that, I found that I had a knack for it. That I had always loved numbers and math and puzzles and things, and so it kind of struck me that oh, this makes sense to me. Like my brain kind of was like, oh yeah, I get this. And so then she actually introduced me to a local CPA firm. And when I was in high school, I got a job working with them part-time, just doing stuff around the office. It started stuffing envelopes and running errands for them and answering phones. But I worked there all through high school and kind of learned all the behind the scenes stuff of an accounting firm, and it kind of continued to introduce me to that. And I found that I really enjoyed it. And so then when I was trying to decide what to do in college, it felt like an easy oh, well, this makes sense. And so I continued on that path and have really found that it's just been something that I really enjoy doing. And it's kind of what I do has evolved over the years. But it initially started with, my aunt introducing me to it and finding that oh, this makes sense to my brain. And
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know since we're high schoolers too, usually we're not so sure about what we want to do at this age, but it's super cool if you get to work in an accounting firm because you get a lot of experience through being a high schooler. So that's really amazing to hear about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really helpful. And actually going through college, I worked in another CPA firm while I was in college. And I was very fortunate in that respect, in that so many of my friends in college had no idea what they wanted to do, but the fact that I was able to, while I was in school, be learning things in school, and then I would go to work and actually get to apply that stuff that I was learning, made it so I feel gave me a big advantage, because I was able to see the real world application of things as I was going through school. And so it made my kind of path. But it's not a common thing for people to figure out so early what they want to do.
Yeah. No, that's really cool though that you were able to find out what you're really passionate about at a really young age. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that you established your own business, what are some areas that you draw inspiration from to be more creative, and how does that creativity connect with your field of work?
Probably most people think that accounting is probably not creative really at all. um, there's definitely parts of it that are not creative. It's pretty black and white. There's, it's numbers, and that's part of what really I enjoy about it. But I also do have a creative side to me. And so the areas where I feel that coming out is when I'm like working with clients, because oftentimes numbers are not their strong suit. And so I have to kind of get creative in how I provide the information to them so that they can understand it. So really trying to understand how different people think, whether that's, visually using charts or graphs or pictures or things like that. And so I feel like I get to kind of be creative in that sense. And then also in the kind of world of social media and presentations and things, like Canva, like is my like that's my playground sometimes. Like I enjoy like going in and creating my presentations and trying to make them, again, more appealing and things to people who, might get turned off by like, oh, boring, that's numbers, I don't want to deal with that. And so finding creative ways to make it interesting to people so that they understand it. So that's how I kind of, sometimes I spend a little bit too much time playing around in Canva making graphics and things, but it's fun to me.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing to find. Like, obviously, accounting is something that's fun for you, but finding other things in it to make it more fun, I think that's a really good thing to have.
Yeah, and as a small business owner, I get to wear a lot of hats in my business, and so there's a lot of, I also do the marketing and the administrative stuff, and so I get kind of access to all of those pieces. Whereas, when I was working in an accounting firm, I just did the client work and stuff. So
I guess there's a lot to learn, so I guess having that small business gives you more opportunities that way.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I also know like today even we use like Canva a lot for designing and um it's just used a lot just because of social media and posting and just getting more like likes or just attraction from like whatever you put out there. So I think that's like a really important aspect of like a lot of different fields today. So I think like creativity, even if it doesn't seem like it applies for a profession, it probably does in other ways as well. So that's really
yeah,
cool to hear about.
yeah. I think there's probably a lot of ways people think, oh, I'm not creative, or I, can't do like. But there's lots of ways that we're creative in our everyday life that we just don't really think of them as being creative, I think. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then this one's kind of a fun question, but if you could collaborate with anyone, who would it be and what project would you envision together?
Um, so I was thinking about this one, and then I was like, well, do I talk about this from like a dream? Like, do I want to like collaborate with like Oprah or something, or do I look at this as like a real world? But I'm actually um, currently doing a collaboration with a friend of mine. So I thought I'd talk about that instead. Is that I have a friend who also has a similar business to mine. She's also an accountant. And we have, over the last year, created a collaboration where we're working together to create basically a platform to be able to work with women entrepreneurs to help empower them around finances in their businesses. And so we've been doing it for about a year, kind of working to build it as a membership where people can come and we do trainings and do calls with them to provide a safe space for them to come and ask questions and learn about their finances and how to run their businesses more successfully. And so it's been really fun for me I've had my own business on my own for close to 20 years. And so to be doing something with a fellow entrepreneur and collaborating together and to be able to like play off of each other's strengths and offset each other's weaknesses has been really fun for me to be able to have that opportunity. So, and I'm really passionate about the goal that we have of being able to work with women entrepreneurs. So it's fun. But she actually has gone full time in an RV, and so she's like traveling around the country. And but prior to that, she lived in Texas, and so we've done it all virtually. And the people that we work with are all over the country as well, and so it's pretty cool to be able to do that. So.
Wow, yeah, that's really nice that like you're able to help other entrepreneurs and other like small business owners like yourself because I know like there are lots of different businesses, and I bet not everyone starts with those, like all the skills you need to like run your own business. But I think just like collaborating, that's really nice, and it just builds like a really supportive community where everyone can kind of learn from each other. So that's really
Yeah.
nice that you get to like help
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah, there's no instruction booklet when you like start a business. Like and
Yeah.
so yeah, a lot of people are just kind of learning as they go. So it's
Yeah.
So just our last question to tie this in and have something for our audience. What is one key piece of advice you would offer to young people pursuing their passions?
um I would say like when you find things that are interesting to you and um that you enjoy doing, to pursue those things or find ways to incorporate that into what you're studying or doing or jobs or things like that. That I feel like oftentimes people just say, oh, I have to just go get a job, or oh, like focusing on something that's going to make money, or um, things like that, versus making sure that what you're doing is something that you're really going to enjoy. Because there's a lot of years that you're gonna be doing something, and also like explore what those things, a lot of different things. If something doesn't feel right or isn't interesting, it doesn't mean you have to stick with that forever. That I know I have a daughter who's a senior in high school right now, and I have a son who's a sophomore in college, and both of them are still exploring what they want to study and what they want to do. And so just kind of encouraging them to try different things, and if something sounds interesting, or then to kind of keep digging at that and see. But then if you find like, oh, the further I got into this, I realized that it's okay to change your mind, and you don't have to stick with that thing just because that was the original thing. So trying lots of things, and when you find things that are interesting, I think just kind of digging deeper on those things.
Yeah, I think that's kind of relatable, I feel like, as a high schooler, because especially when we're growing up in like elementary, we go to a lot of different activities. Some we enjoy, some we don't. So I think narrowing that down over the years is really important to be able to finally pursue one thing when you're out of high school. I mean, it also could be multiple things, but finding that one that you will want to spend the rest of your life learning about, I think is important.
Yeah, and it takes time sometimes. Sometimes you don't find what those things are for a while. So trying a lot of different things can be helpful. I was, like I said, I was really fortunate that I found something really early on that I liked. But that's definitely not always the case. Like I think of so many of my friends from college that many of them, even once they graduated, still had no idea what they wanted to do. So there's so many opportunities out there and so many things that you can do. So just being open to learning and exploring things. So
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because like as high schoolers, I think that's important for us to keep in mind that like we don't always have to stick to the like one thing that we know like is going to earn a lot of money or something, or we're going to be really successful in that, but to like just think about what do I actually like out of the different things that I'm kind of doing. So, thank
yeah,
you for sharing that. That's nice to hear.
yeah,
Awesome. So, yeah, thank you so much, Miss Annette, for sharing your incredible journey and your insights with us today. And it's been a pleasure hearing about your experience and the passion that you bring to accounting and your own small business. And I'm sure that our listeners have gained a lot of valuable inspiration from your story. And to everyone tuning in, thank you for joining us on this episode of Art from Heart Beyond the Canvas. We really hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. Be sure to subscribe and stay connected for more exciting episodes, exploring the intersection of art and creativity in all its forms. Until next time, stay creative.